I wanted to start off with a little story about when my youngest son was 6 years old. We were in the cereal aisle at the grocery store, which if any of you have kids that you know, the cereal aisle is basically hell on earth for a parent. So he's laying flat on his back, and he's clutching, like his life jacket, a box of Apple Jacks, and just hysterical, just throwing a huge fit. And I'm standing there, and I'm holding a bag of the generic equivalent of Apple Jacks, so it's some sort of Smapple flax, and it's in a plastic bag. And I'm trying to sell him on the merits of not having to use a box. Look at this, it's already in the bag. Like, what more could you want? And so for him, his life is hanging in the balance, because what if he doesn't get the prize in the box? Like, will his life ever be fulfilled? So every time I try to sell him on the Smapple flax, it gets louder and louder. And then my other son, who's 8 years old at the time, he's just trying to count, because I'm having him count the amount for the food that we're putting in the grocery cart. And I'm telling him, we're only going to spend $50. So he's just super happy to not be in the fit zone and to be out of it, but he's really trying to remember, because I was very, very emphatic that it's $50. That's all we have. And what they really didn't know is that $50 was all that we had. It wasn't our budget, oh, this is what we're spending, but it was literally the only money that I had at that time. So I opened a personal training studio in 2008, and I don't know if anybody followed the economy in that. So when you open a brick and mortar business that relies solely on people's discretionary income, at the beginning tipping point of the recession, 1 year into it, it was brutal. Does anybody want to guess how I was doing financially? No? Okay, yeah. So at that time, I'm basically paying to go to work 14 to 16 hours a day. And right after that started happening, my financial advisor was indicted by a federal court for a sundry of fraudulent charges that made my entire nest egg that was to keep the business afloat disappear overnight. As well, people don't like to give you credit when you're not making any money and you don't have any capital behind it. So all of my credit completely shut down. So I'm already starting to lose my house at this point, and I'm standing there in the cereal aisle, and my son is dying to have these Apple Jacks, and I can't buy my son a $5 box of cereal because we only have $50. And as I stand there, I'm a single mother. I've got no capital. I've got no income. I've got no income that's going to start coming in anytime soon, and I've got no credit. And I felt like I was at a real crossroads at the time. So my choice, I really, really wanted to join him on the floor in kind of fetal position. And I just wanted to cry, because just what he was doing, he wanted somebody to come and make it all better. And I totally wanted somebody to come and make it all better, because things were just going from bad to worse. And in that moment, I sort of had this very still voice in my head that started to get more dramatic, but it was very Scarlett O'Hara, Gone with the Wind, with God as my witness, I'll never go hungry again. And for me, that voice sort of changed the tide for me, and I didn't know it at the time, but I know that internally I said to myself that there is absolutely no way I will ever find myself in this situation again. There is no way that my kid will ask for a box of cereal, and other than on principle that Apple Jacks are crap, that I won't be able to get it for him. Because in that moment, like, I had so much shame. It's already bad enough when your kid's throwing a fit, but I was so humiliated because I had failed on such an epic level that now groceries are hanging in the balance. Like, my home is hanging in the balance. And I'm supposed to be supporting these two and showing them what a successful, ambitious woman looks like, and I'm an absolute failure. And what I didn't realize in that Scarlett O'Hara moment was that just saying that this would never happen to me again really turned the tide, and I started my own hero's journey.